Petworking is presented by Maya Strategy Group, a leading market research and strategy consulting firm, helping clients in the pet care and animal health industries navigate strategic challenges for almost 2 decades.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petworking. I'm Peter Kenseth, Vice President and Partner at Maya Strategy Group, and I'm here today with Sonya Petcavich, founder and CEO of Meowtel. I met Sonya at Pet Connect in Los Angeles. We're coming up on almost 2 months ago now. And again, as I said in our last episode with Jaime Paris of Pronova, our hearts and thoughts go out to the people of Los Angeles, and we hope that the recovery effort continues to progress there, and that restoration happens quickly. This is our first episode recording. I just finished a move, so this is the first episode recording in my new space, at least for a couple months. So folks might be noticing a new background, and that's why. But really excited to continuing with having our first full length cat specific episode. We did a lot on cats at Pet Connect. Pet Connect had the Year of the Cat panel, and I think personally I've been hearing probably for like the last 3 years, like, this is the year of the cat, this is the year of the cat, this is the year of the cat, and it never quite materialized. So it was really cool to see that panel at Pet Connect, and I'm really optimistic and hopeful that 2025 will be the year that we really start to see some of these cat specific innovations come to market. Because there's certainly a lot of untapped opportunity out there, and Sonya is really delving into the services side of it. I think we're going to have a great discussion about the challenges with running a services-based business, particularly a marketplace-based services business. But I'm psyched to have Sonya on. I'm psyched to see you again. It's really enjoyed our conversations at Pet Connect, and I'm glad we're going to get a little bit more time to talk about Meowtel today. So, Sonya, thanks for joining us, and welcome to Petworking.
Thanks for having me. Meow meow.
Yeah. No, you got that well integrated into the brand. It's good. Once you get a little bit bigger, I feel like we can have like a commercial where you just run a 30-second clip with lots of cat specific puns. And I think people would love it. I think Meow Mix has, probably the most memorable meow right now, but that's not to say, there's room to innovate. You've got it there. So, I know we put out our little short from Pet Connect. So I want to go, take a minute to go over the specifics and the stats on Meowtel. So you're doing 50% year-over-year growth. You have 2,200 plus vetted sitters on the platform. When we last talked, you were at 95,000 plus completed bookings. Have we hit the 100K mark yet, or where are we now?
I think we're just a couple thousand shy.
Okay, cool. And you've done all this with less than $1 million in funding. So this is all organic marketplace generated growth, which is really cool. So I guess my first question for you, Sonya, is, take us back, to when you founded Meowtel, right? Everybody's familiar with Rover, the pet sitting app, but obviously Rover has a very dog specific connotation in its name. You can book cat sittings on Rover, but what was the light bulb moment that made you say, hey, I'm going to start Meowtel? So talk to us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so let's rewind back to January 2015. I was living in Richmond, Virginia at the time, working corporate. I worked for Big Tobacco. So I don't know how I went from Big Tobacco to cats, but here I am. And it's working out for me.
You had a cat while you were working for Big Tobacco, I'm guessing, right?
Sorry?
You had a cat while you were working for Big Tobacco,
Exactly.
I'm guessing.
So my childhood cat, after I graduated from undergrad, she moved in with me. She was at my mom's house during school. And she traveled all over the country with me as I got promotions and moved up in the company. So she was in Oregon and Sacramento and then Virginia. And by the time we got to Virginia in 2014, she was 15 years old, getting up there. And when she lived with me the past 6 years, I was traveling pretty much 80% of the time for work. I was in field sales, managing my team, always out and about. And I could never find someone who loved cats as much as I did to come over and just hang out with her for 30 minutes. That was all I was asking for, and it was impossible. There were mom and pop independent cat sitters, and those still exist today. But I mean, the client intake experience was awful. I mean, you basically had to fax in a form, and this was the year 2011 when we had the iPhone. Why are we still faxing forms to become a new customer? And so, as we shifted into this world of convenience, I just wanted something that could work for more of a millennial audience, convenient, tap a button, you have a great cat sitter at your door. And so sadly, Miss Lily, my childhood cat, she passed away January 2015. I went through this period of just devastation, mourning her loss. It was the first animal I've lost, which is quite the experience, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And the light bulb went off during that period of darkness and loss. And I was questioning whether I was the best cat mom I could have been because I was leaving her all the time and she was home alone and I would get back and there was revenge poop on the bed. She was upset and throwing up because there was no one to care for her properly. And so I said, I can't be the only cat person having this problem. I looked up alternate solutions. Rover had been around for a year or two. WAG was up and coming. And I was like, they are so dog branded. They're going to be focused on the dog problem for quite some time. I can't believe no one is doing this for cats. This is such a good idea. I'm going to be the person who solves this problem. And so I tossed all my life savings into the company to get it started, to build the MVP. And fast forward 10 years later, and we are now the segment leader across the country, which is super exciting. So it's been a long journey, a very rewarding journey, and to hear from our customers and like almost every day that we have changed their lives because they can now travel stress-free, that's what keeps us going every single day.
And a key part of that, I think, and what struck me most about our conversation at Pet Connect is that you have a 6-step vetting process and you only accept 4% of the people who apply to be sitters on the platform. I've got Peony, my dog, sleeping right here next to me. If you followed the show at all, you've seen pictures of her. She never gets up to get on camera, but she's right by my side. She was my moving buddy the last couple days. I like to joke I got 2 men in a truck to move the big stuff, and then yesterday we had one guy and a dog in the U-Haul. So, but like you, I have to travel a lot, and the hardest part of leaving Peony, of traveling, is leaving Peony, and I feel good about it to an extent because we've got a daycare that she does well at, but it's expensive, and I've tried having people come into the house, and it's gone well every time, but like the problem is that Burlington, Vermont is a college town. And so what ends up happening is I book a college kid because they're the ones who have reasonable rates to come and stay with her. I think they also do it because, like you said, they're, at school, they can't have a dog. They miss their dog at home. So they turn to dog sitting to kind of fill that void. But they come a time or two and then they're gone. And, it would make my life infinitely easier if I had somebody who I was like, you know what, I know they love Peony as much as I do. There's that long-standing relationship. I've never had a cat, so I can't speak to the cat-specific challenges. Like you said with revenge poop, we don't see that. Peony's very particular about where she goes to the bathroom. But my brother's a cat dad, and he's up at University of Washington doing a postdoc in atmospheric chemistry. So he has to travel to conferences a lot. And he's been really fortunate. He's found a woman in his building that will come and, she's very reasonable. And, it's not through a platform or anything like that. But when he was out visiting over Christmas, he mentioned, she's going to be moving and this is going to become a real challenge for me. And I think he was looking, he was on the road probably a third of the year. 100 plus days away from his cat. I don't have quite that many days away from Peony, but it's a real challenge. Um, and so I guess, talk us through like the 6-step vetting process, how you arrived at this process. And I'd be curious too, how many like repeat bookings, because I'm guessing if it's that competitive to get onto the platform, you're not seeing so much transience of people like, oh, I booked them once, I had a good experience, and now they're gone. Um, that you can find a relationship, and, achieve that level of comfort.
Yeah. So from the beginning of the company, my belief has always been that when you are in animal services, these are people's babies. And especially as the demographic shifts towards people not having human babies, the pets become the babies, as we all know. And so it is always going to be quality over quantity. There have been some other platforms that have taken a different approach and done the more Silicon Valley growth at all costs approach, and that hasn't worked out too well for them. Because if you can't nail down quality as you scale up here, it's going to tarnish your reputation, and reputation and trust is everything in this space. So we made the very intentional decision to say, we're going to first figure out what type of quality we're looking for, make sure we have a good formula there. We've finessed our 6-step process probably on a monthly basis for the past 10 years, and it's still evolving constantly based on all the data we gather and our learnings and customer complaints and anything that might happen out in the real world. And so we are very proud of the fact that we don't let just anybody onto the platform. Unlike others, we don't charge a fee to join, but we do look for the highest quality sitters out there. And as a result, if you go read our reviews on any platform, I mean, it's just rave reviews across the board. We've had sitters who have pretty much been with us since the start of our journey. So they started with us in 2016. They just kept building their clientele, building their business through Meowtel. They have hundreds of reviews with happy customers, and we've set up our sitter commissions and our fee structure so that we incentivize sitters to build that relationship, really invest in the well-being of their clients and their kitty clients. So it's a long-term relationship rather than just a one and done or a college student pet sitting for the summer. And we also build relationships with our sitters too. So, I mean, when they contact our customer support team, we know each other on a first name basis. Every team member on the customer support team with pretty much all of our major sitters that have been with us for over a year. So it's a very special community that we're building, a very niche, dedicated audience, and they're very passionate about cats and everything cats, and so are we. And I think that is just a perfect, not so secret formula for being able to scale up while maintaining the quality. So I would just say that you got to make sure the passion is there, the skills, and that they want to be here for the long term and build that relationship with the client.
Yeah. Talk to me about that incentivization of the sitters to build that long-term relationship with the client. Because in my personal experience, and I don't begrudge anybody this, but in addition to the fly-by-night college student on the major dog sitting platforms, who I might have a conference, book them, good experience. I have a conference a couple months later, and they're not available, not on the platform. But I've seen others, it seems like the strategy is, when you first get on the platform, you set your rate lower to attract people to you. And then, the other thing I've seen that has gotten in the way of that long-term relationship is like, I will book somebody for an initial stay with Peony, and then I go to rebook them and they've doubled their rate. And, I'm not saying, and it seems to be the process is they get a good review from you, and it's almost like they take that like discounted booking, but everybody's setting their own prices. And I see on Rover, people charging $35 a night to come and watch your dog to $150 a night to come and watch your dog. And I know what I'm going to get at my daycare is $63 a night. So it's sort of like, I look at it like, okay, 63 is sort of like my break even point. I know I'm going to get, good, reliable service from my daycare, but Peeny's not going to be able to stay in the comforts of her house. or or I'm going, if I can save money on the daycare, like, and I can vet the sitter beforehand, I'll go that route. But like, you have a marketplace platform, you're letting sitters set their own rates. How do you manage, that challenge and incentivization of a long-term relationship with people trying to maximize their earnings? You mentioned the commission structure. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and what you said about the pricing increasing as the sitter builds their reputation, that's certainly like a pretty standard sitter playbook. But what we've seen, especially within our community, because we are a more premium platform, the willingness to pay is there. But with that being said, we're still a marketplace. Sitters can set whatever rates they want to set. They can offer coupons and set those up. And we also make a coupon investment for our new sitters so that they get their first couple of bookings very easily. They start to grow their business and become very successful on Meowtel. But with that being said, on the back end side of things, our commission structure is quite different from other platforms out there, even like your Ubers and your care.coms. We do a tiered approach. So every sitter will start with a new client. The commission at that time is 30% is what we keep, and then they keep 70%. And then once they hit certain earnings levels, such as once they hit $299 in earnings with that particular client, it drops by 5%. So they keep 75%, we only take 25%. And that incentive goes until we're at 15% for our commission, which is super low, and then they keep 85%. So, and that's after earning a couple $1,000s in earnings with them. And that's worked really well because if you go and read other reviews from platforms, the sitters are typically grumbling about commissions and they say, what is the value add? Why am I paying this much commission? So with that in mind, we also said, how else can we differentiate ourselves? And it is that customer support team and our sitter success team that takes the time to invest in each of our sitters to help them be successful, to give them tips and tricks, to be there during a really stressful situation and know that someone will answer the phone at Meowtel and talk to you and coach you through the situation. So even though they are all independent business owners, they can set their own rates, do whatever they want with their business. We're there to be kind of like their coach, their partner, and make sure that they're doing the best thing for the kitty, best thing for the client, and then helping the Meowtel community grow.
Very cool. Very cool. It's interesting. So, because I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? Like if you know, would you say that's different than what you're seeing on some of the other major platforms? Do they just keep their uh, commission structure constant regardless of earnings level, or?
From my understanding, it's pretty much like a flat commission rate, regardless of the volume you do. I think they have certain other programs. Like I know Rover has a Star Sitter program. I don't know the exact details or if the commissions are different. But for the most part, I think the typical commission is between 20 to 40% flat, depending on which platform you're working with. But the value add that the other platforms are offering to their community of supply side and service providers is just not up to the level that we're striving for at Meowtel.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, when you're only accepting 4% of people, like, you're putting a significant investment, and if you're not requiring them to pay a fee to join, you're putting significant investment in making sure that they're there. So that it sounds like that incentive works both ways. Because you don't want people leaving the platform after you've put all this effort in, to vetting them. So what exactly, what's the 6 steps? If I'm coming on and I want to be a Meowtel sitter, what does that look like?
Yep. So you create an account and you download the mobile app and start the process only through the mobile app. And you do a skills assessment. So we just kind of get a feel for your love of cats and your knowledge of cats through some open-ended questions. And then you fill out your tentative listing. So upload a professional headshot, fill out your details, share with us the potential service zone you would want to cover and how available you are. So can you do holidays? Are you not available on weekends? That's really important since we're very much a holiday-driven business. And then from there, if you pass those stages, we invite you to submit 2 professional references, all of whom we contact, and they have to provide us with both like ratings and open-ended questions or answers to open-ended questions about your performance as a cat sitter and your knowledge. From there, you are invited to a background check through our partner at checker.com. And then once that is passed, you are invited to an activation call with an actual Meowtel team member. It's a 30-minute Zoom interview where we, hop on the phone together, get a feel for who you are, how much you love cats, your skills, and ask you some questions about some situations. And then if you are approved and the interview goes well, you'll be probably activated within 24 hours and then you're ready to go.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I know most of the other platforms do a background check and things like that, but I don't feel like there's, I don't feel like they're doing an in-person interview, or checking references or anything like that. Have you thought about rolling this out to the dog side?
How dare you ask me that, Peter? I'm offended.
Well, I mean, if it's been so successful for cats, there's a whole other side of the market that you're missing out on.
Yeah.
I would be interested. I mean, I spend my time going through looking like, okay, who's a vet tech,
Right.
you know, tr- and I will not let anyone watch Peony without meeting them and doing an introduction. And I'm sure you allow that on the platform for your cat sitters as well, so people don't have to um, feel like, obviously you're doing a lot of the vetting, but like you said, these are people's babies and their family members. You know, it's not anything that you're gonna. I wouldn't let anyone watch my kids without meeting them first, and
Right.
in the same way, I'm not gonna let anyone watch Peony without meeting them first. And you're probably
Exactly.
not gonna let somebody you don't know meet your cat because what if they steal it or uh, you know it's even with the vetting process, like you know there's people out there that can fool applications and screeners
100%.
and
Yeah.
um, so yeah. Now, do you find you're nationwide? Are there geographic areas that you are more concentrated in with sitters, less concentrated? What's the
We're definitely focusing our efforts on coastal big cities. Our demographic is, cat mom between the age of 25 to 45, or maybe double income, no kids household, a gay couple in New York City who just dotes over their cats. We service the whole range, but LA, New York, those are our really big markets that drive a lot of the business. We do have a pretty solid sitter population up and down both coasts. And now we're building out services and building sitter populations in the central part of the country. So Texas is becoming a big state, Colorado, Illinois, but there's still a few states we need to get to, such as Montana, Wyoming. So we're focusing on making sure we have a presence in all 50 states this year and really building out quality sitters and making sure that flywheel is going successfully.
Yeah, no, that's great. And with your customer support team, do you guys get into televet at all with that, or um, do you have televet partnerships that sitters can call if something's going wrong or anything like that?
Yes and no. We have kind of informal partnerships. So one of our partners is Petsy, and they've been great. Anytime we need an article like on avian flu, we just reach out to them and they support us and give us guidance for what we need to give to sitters or advise our community on. My belief is if it's not in our domain of expertise, we shouldn't pretend to do it or offer it.
Mhm.
And so telehealth, veterinary services, that's not our domain of expertise. We're happy to team up with others to offer it or relay people to their services. But for us, my mantra is like we're going to be the in and out of cat sitting, like In and Out Burger. They only do one thing and they do it exceptionally well. So
Sure.
we want to do
Yeah,
one
I was
thing.
wondering if you've gotten into it more from like a partnership standpoint, if that was
Yeah.
part, customer service, your customer support team could kind of triage and patch it up. You know, because I definitely think like, and I'm sure that's part of the appeal of the sitters that you have is look, you've got this safety net behind you. If you're sitting and something goes wrong, you can call, and that could be something with the cat, or if you're staying in somebody's home and the garbage disposal breaks and you don't know what to do, or
Yeah.
things like that. It To what extent, are is that customer support team helping and assisting with things like that?
I mean, we've handled some pretty interesting, stressful situations in our 10 years. So we're pretty well equipped for 95% of the scenarios that are going to come in on any given year. Every year we do have to experience something new and something where we have to write standard operating procedures for or reach out to a partner for guidance on how we should navigate these situations. But overall, our customer support team is trained, ready to go on any type of situation that will come in. And we have done like scenario planning for the more serious stuff. But yeah, we really pride ourselves in our customer support, having the phone number to call any hour of the day. And that's been working really well for us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, and that's a peace of mind for, people who are looking to book a sitter too, is that, you're not just hiring that one person, they're equipped with that's really cool. Hopefully that is prominently featured in your marketing.
Yes.
That's great. No, that, yeah, I think it's interesting because I always look at services businesses as being the hardest to scale, because you can't control all of those sitters. You have 90, 2,200 plus, and I know you mentioned that your customer support team knows virtually all of them by name, but 2,200 is a lot, and you know it's one thing if you've got like four people under you and you can regularly check in, but I look at it, whether it's dog training or boarding, grooming, like there are founder specific attributes, the, the analogy I always use is, there's only one, Caesar Milan, or there's only, you know, his training method, regardless of how you feel about it. And I know there's people that, you know, love him and don't love him, but you know, his demeanor, his ability to connect with animals, his timing. I worked with a trainer with Peony that had gone to his school and he was very good, but he'd be the first to tell you he's not Caesar. Um, and, you know, he started his own training business and he puts his stamp on that. And so I think when you're scaling up, um, it's tough to make sure that people are doing things exactly the right way, um, in a services business. But do you feel like obviously the vetting process plays a key role in that? Do you feel like having that customer support team behind everybody, sort of helps to unify that experience so that every Meowtel client is getting a fairly consistent unified experience and we're not seeing the you know corporate owned Starbucks versus the independent franchise location paradox?
So something we talk a lot about internally and something I quote all the time is the Maya Angelou quote of people will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And that's how we run our customer support team and operations and it starts with us internally. So I have to make sure everyone on Team Meowtel feels supported, valued, and they feel inspired to come to work every day and do an amazing job, which they do. And then from there, they can serve that formula to our community. So instead of treating every sitter or every customer as a transaction, the customer support team is challenged to treat everyone as a real human. Like, just don't be a bot with them. Ask them how their day is going, get to know them, build that rapport. Make sure you're leaving just a lasting, compassionate, loving, impactful feeling with them, every interaction that we have. And so I think just by going down to the basics of how to be a loving, compassionate, caring human with one another and really channeling that on your support team, that is how you do like quality control essentially for over 2,000 people, where it's totally up to them how they want to run their business. We're here to give them the guidelines and kind of the framework. But at the end of the day, if they want to build their business, they have to do a great job themselves and be self accountable and hold themselves to a high standard. And I think just celebrating that, celebrating the wins. We have a sitter memo every month where we celebrate great things we see going on in our sitter community. And I think that just encourages everyone to strive for just a higher level of achievement and awesomeness and cat centricity and like providing the best care we can to over 50,000 cats pretty much a year. So it starts with just forming the human connection. If you can form that with your community, they're going to deliver that on the other end, which is the end user, the cats and the clients.
Yeah. I think maybe, the other half of it is that you are, these sitters are building their own personal brands on the platform as well, right? There's sort of the Meowtel backing, but, you're encouraging them to add their own flavor. There's sort of that underpinning of like, these are our core philosophies, these are our core values, but, at the same time, particularly with people who are, you know, working within the same geographic area, you are competing against other sitters in the marketplace to earn and book business. So, much like an Airbnb or, something like that, you're seeing, that little flare of like, okay, there's a, you know, confluence of, okay, what's an attractive rate? What's the level of service? How are you getting along with my pet? It, so I think that makes a lot of sense. What, what would you say the biggest challenges you've had in building the business have been, and what are the big things that you're looking to tick off on this year?
I think for the first 7 years of our journey, it's really been about quality and finding the right people and also understanding what that formula is to predict long-term success and them wanting to stick around with Meowtel for 10, 15, 20 years. We think we're getting close to what that like perfect formula is. We've made so many improvements, but for the first 7 years, it was just about where do we find the right sitters? How do we coach them appropriately? What should our vetting process be, and how can we constantly improve it? And then how do we build liquidity in every market where we operate so that the moment the sitter activates, we know they'll get a booking within 30 days? Because that's a whole nother side of the equation that can be really challenging to make sure that the demand is there for the supply side once they're ready to go. So making sure that's balanced up is now kind of the realm that we're focusing in as we keep expanding and building our sitter population. And as digital advertising has become more challenging, I know this was a hot topic in Pet Connect of just customer acquisition, like everything's becoming so expensive. Quality of leads is going down on the major channels such as Google and Meta, and like we don't even know where to start anymore. And then AI is going to disrupt SEO completely. So we're just in this weird transition period right now where we're trying to do a bit of traditional marketing, but we know we need to shift to new strategies and try new things. And it's just trying to balance all of that to get the right type of traffic coming in and building that brand awareness. So that's something that we're going to be running a lot of tests behind this year, is just how do we build out the whole funnel, top of funnel, middle, and then activating them and making sure they stick around after they make their first booking. And we've got some exciting plans, but I would definitely say it's shifted from sitter acquisition being the big opportunity for the first 7 years, and now it's more customer acquisition and making sure we're getting quality traffic.
Yeah, no, I know we were talking at Pet Connect, you were doing advertising on podcasts and,
Yeah.
trying to do more niche demographic specific marketing and exploring different acquisition channels. I can definitely emphasize that, it's challenging. So can you give us any insight into your exciting plans, or are those under wraps for right now?
Something I'm super excited about is just, again, going back to the basics of guerrilla marketing. I won't share details, but just going back to like silly plans of, I don't think this will scale. But now we're at the point where we're challenging our original assumptions. And it's like, no, this might be the best strategy we have of just going old school and doing like print advertising in very specific locations and leveraging our sitter community to kind of be our spokespeople for the company. I mean, there's 2,000 of them across the country. Why aren't we using them as much as we should to help us build the brand? And then that will help the tides lift and all boats will rise in the high tide. So going back to very, very traditional marketing tactics is something we're going to try this year that I'm super excited about.
Very cool. Very cool. Any plans to attend big conferences? Are we going to see Meowtel at WVC or Global Pet or
So we will be at CatCon in LA in August, and then we will be at
oh,
the Cat-Centric Vet Conference in Portland in September, I believe it is.
nice?
And then CFA in Cleveland in October, and Pet Connect in December. So we're
Very
busy
good.
back
Well,
half the year.
I will at least see you at Pet Connect. Hopefully, LA is. I know it's moved to Beverly Hills, but that'll be an interesting trip to see how far recovery has come there. But yeah, are you from I know you met, you've only taken, less than 1 million in funding. Are you guys still, on the hunt for investors? Is that a big part of plans for 2025 or really just focusing on?
Don't have any plans to raise. We really believe in building a long-term, sustainably profitable company. So we're now at the profitable point, and so we're going to keep reinvesting in the business, scaling at the right pace as we keep finessing all of our strategies. And we really believe that that will be the right long-term strategy for us.
That is cool. That's very cool. Um, I mean, it's a testament to the journey. I mean, if you think about it, like a lot of businesses don't hit 10 years. You're at 10 years, um, you know, uh, and to be, 10 years in and profitable and growing and, having a nationwide presence, it's really cool. I could, I'm sure we could delve off into, the challenges of payment distribution, uh, as a whole nother episode. But I'm fascinated by marketplaces because you know you see people questioning, what's the utility that I'm getting through booking here? Well, you're getting advertising, you're getting uh, seamless payments going into the platform, and then you're redistributing them out to all the sitters. You're handling, the 1099 and the
Yeah.
taxes and all of that. And creating a seamless experience for the customer. I mean, it's a lot to juggle. You like you said, you're first you got to get the sitters so that you have a service to offer, but then you've got to attract customers. You've got to keep the sitters happy. You got to pay the sitters. You got to handle all the marketing and administrative challenges. So, I think it's incredible what you guys are doing, and I'm excited to see the success continue to come. And
Thank you.
I'll, I don't know if you're planning on doing any of your guerrilla marketing up in the Burlington, Vermont area, but I will definitely be on the lookout. See if I see any Meowtel paper airplanes or anything flying about.
I'm just gonna ship you a pallet of paper materials to hand out to everyone.
Sure, yeah, we could do that. Send them along. I'll be at WVC next month if you want me to drop anything off in the Vegas area, and then at Global Pet in Orlando in March. And I'll be excited to see at those conferences, if this year of the cat
Yeah,
is really going to take off.
please report back.
Yeah, no, it should be cool. I think I know Cecilia at Bistro Cat mentioned that should be launching soon. I'm wondering if we're going to
Good.
see anything around that at Global Pet. Um, you know, uh, there's definitely some momentum and lots of opportunity out there. But I think it's just companies being willing to take that next step and invest. But as you've proven, there's a lot of marketplace demand out there, and I think that's a testament to your product, and that's why I asked if you're going to maybe pivot and add a dog specific side of it, because I would be interested in quality vetted dog sitting services that I could book.
I'm sorry, we're
Well, my
never going
daughter.
to turn to the dark side.
Oh, come on. We love cats too. My daughter keeps asking me if we can get a cat. I tell her that it has
There
to get
you
along
go.
with Peony. So we may
Yeah,
foster. We'll start with it. We'll start with fostering it and do a trial run.
love it.
So I don't know. I don't know how Peony will react to cats. She's never really seen them. So
Good luck with that.
the few times she has run off on me, it has been because a cat has come through her yard and she
Oh,
has taken off after it. She doesn't chase squirrels, doesn't chase rabbits. Um,
just the
Something about
cats.
the cats.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, be careful with that idea of fostering a cat. I'm a little concerned now.
Yeah, it's one of those things. She's here first, so I can't
Yeah.
displace her. But
Yeah.
my daughter is she's going to be so excited when she sees this episode. When I showed her the cat specific clips from Pet Connect, she was like, "That's great." She loves dogs, but she's decided in the last like 3 months that she is a cat.
Oh,
So
good. Love when humans identify as cats.
yeah, that she grows pretends she's a cat all the time. She was a cat
Great.
for Halloween.
Let her know when she's 18, she can be a Meowtel cat sitter.
Okay, I will. I will.
Good.
I will do that, and we can maybe get her practicing, and she'll
Yeah.
be a neighborhood cat sitter, and she'll have that experience lined up, so she hits your vetting process.
Done. Love this
Hits the
plan.
ground running. Sounds good. Well, Sonia, this was awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. Wishing you all the success as you continue building, and like I said, if you need me to throw some Meowtel paper airplanes around Burlington, or you know, assist in the guerrilla marketing efforts, happy to help you out with that. So,
Thank you so much,
but
Peter.
we'll have to have you back on in the future so we can hear how that goes, and you know, definitely post about it because I'm curious as to what those are now. So
I'm terrible at LinkedIn, but I'm working on it.
it's a channel. There's
I
a
know.
lot of, you know, I would argue, I don't know. This is a business focused podcast on pets and pet care and animal health. So I feel like LinkedIn is the appropriate channel for that because nobody's going on Facebook to hear
True.
you and I talk business strategy. Um, they probably are looking for cat sitters, or that on Facebook. And but that being said, you are getting a professional audience that probably is more attuned to that demo, employed, traveling, able
Yeah,
to pay
definitely.
for cat sitting. So
Yep. The tech audience is a really great audience for us, so we're working on it. We've got
yeah,
plans.
well, we do what we can to help here. So and
Thank you.
thank you for giving us your time. I know
Of course.
you're busy running a company, so glad we were able to have you on, and it's great to see you again. And we'll look forward to being in touch going forward.
Yep, sounds great. Thanks so much, Peter.
Yeah, on behalf of Sonia, everybody, I'm Peter Kenseth, and we'll catch you on another episode of Petworking soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.